Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Hey there, Trekkies. Michael, aka the Trek Lad. Welcome back to the channel for this, the return of the Let's Talk About Trek. I want to talk about Phillipa Georgiou. An interesting conversation, an interesting subject to probably kick off this new series. We will probably broach more interesting topics at some stage, but Phillipa Georgiou is an interesting topic because it's a lot of there's a lot of potential with Phillipa Georgiou. There was a lot of potential, and I still believe to a degree that there is a lot of potential with this character. Essentially introduced to us as the first captain we were introduced to when Discovery began. So for all intents and purposes, the first captain that we'd seen on our screens since Jonathan Archer. And there was a lot of scope, and there was a lot of potential, I think, for her character to have been one of the great captains in Star Trek. Now, we weren't, unfortunately, that kind of ended when she took a Klingon dagger to the chest. But I digress. There are things that we can still do with this character. I hope you're doing well. Come say hi in the chat. Let me know what you like about Phillipa Georgiou. And importantly, at the heart of this conversation, how can Star Trek bring this character back? That's kind of what I want to talk about. Because, yeah, I don't think Section 31's being made anytime soon. We'll get to that nugget in a minute. Right. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at some people who are in the chat. Raul, this was all a dream. Duh. I don't know what that means. Jill 47. Hello, Jill. For the love of God, please no. Wow. Well, yeah, and you guys know how, most of you know how I feel about Mirror Georgiou. We'll get onto that for sure. I can't even pronounce this. I'm not even going to try. I hope more obscure aliens are fleshed out like Linus and Narn in the future. Yeah, me too. But we're not talking about them. Hello, Simon. Evening. Hope you're doing well. Phillipa was one of my fave characters. So yeah. It's the original Phillipa Georgiou had a lot of potential to be a really good character, and a character she was kind of classic quintessential Trek, I found, until the Klingons turn up anyway, and until Burnham tried to steal her ship. A bit awkward that. Mirror Universe Georgiou is probably one of my least favorite characters in the history of Star Trek. Nothing against the actor playing her. Michelle Yeoh is an amazing acting talent, and I remember when they announced that they'd brought her on board for the show, and I was like, wow, this is quite a coup. I always like it when Star Trek has attracted amazing talent over the years. I mean, all you need to do is look at some of the films to see it's a who's who of amazing acting talent. And for the TV shows as well. I mean, sometimes we forget just how many amazing actors and actresses have passed through the TV productions over the years. So to get someone like Michelle Yeoh on board was quite a coup. And I don't think for a second, even when they announced it for the first time, I was like, this character surely isn't going to be sticking around for too long. Michelle Yeoh's a movie star. She's going to be making films all the time. And to be fair, I kind of had that for when they announced Doug Jones was coming on board, because he's like, he's like the monster savant of Hollywood. So I was like, well, they're surely not going to be able to have Saru tied down to the production for more than a year. I was wrong. I'm frequently wrong. But yes, as we found out, obviously when Discovery premiered in 2017, that Georgiou was not a character that we were going to be seeing a lot of, and that her legacy was going to be driving elements of the story forward. And we've seen that. And Georgiou, the presence of Prime Universe Georgiou has been felt right through to the end of season 3. And I'm glad that they did that. Her character obviously had a huge mark on Burnham's life. But how do they bring her back? As we saw in the middle of season 3, or towards the end of season 3. And before we do get into this, everyone, spoilers. Big spoilers. If you've not seen Discovery season 3, go away. Go watch it. Unless you don't mind spoilers. But Mirror Universe Georgiou, she is no longer part of Discovery. She has gone through the portal handily created by Carl, aka the Guardian of Forever. And this opens up a wealth of possibilities. But first, what I want to do quickly is I want to read you the internet, because I need to pad this out. And what we have here is we have a story that has been brought to us by my good friends. I mean, the I don't know, like the daddy of Star Trek news on the internet, Trek Core, my favorite website ever. They've given so much. But yes, this story came, this story broke towards the end of February, so I'm a bit slow getting to this, but Paramount Plus still having conversations about Section 31. No additional Star Trek series expected until current show's end. Now, from my point of view, I was always a bit confused with this Section 31 show, because they said they were going to do it, and then I heard rumblings that they weren't going to do it, and then I heard rumors that they were definitely going to do it, and then I heard they weren't doing it, and then I heard they were doing it, and now we kind of get this. And they announced Section 31, if I remember correctly, they announced it. This article says it, so I'm just going to read it here. Since the first inklings of follow-ups to 2017's debut of Star Trek Discovery, the franchise expansion under the watch of Alex Kurtzman has always been explained as a careful, planned rollout scheduled years ahead of time, while shows like Picard, Strange New Worlds, and 2 animated series are rolling well along. I mean, when they say scheduled years ahead of time, I don't fully buy that. And I'll tell you why. Because if it was planned years ahead of time, surely we would have Star Trek like we used to, where it was like, it was like 1 year is one season, and it would. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember when we used to get Star Trek like clockwork, and you literally knew that it would premiere late in the year, and that was that. And if you're planning a show out years in advance, I know that we've had the COVID pandemic, and that has like really screwed with a lot of production. But I mean, we did have we had 2 seasons of Discovery and a season of Picard before this mess. And if I remember correctly, Discovery just kind of dropped whenever. There was no kind of rhyme or reason to it. So I don't really buy that too much. But here we go. First announced in January 2019, the Michelle Yeoh led spin-off of Star Trek Discovery, centered around former Terran Emperor Phillipa Georgiou's exploits in the ranks of Section 31, has been discussed now for 2 years, with occasional updates about story development over that time. Now, truthfully, honestly, I can't actually remember much in the way of updates with regards to story. All I remember was that they were kind of flip-flopping between if the show was actually happening or not. But now it turns out that it's not so concrete. In addition, Yeoh finally departed Discovery this past season in the 2-part Terra Firma tale, sending the secret agent back through the past, by the way, Guardian Forever, as I mentioned, to a time and place of unknown. Love it. In an interview today with Variety, franchise boss Alex Kurtzman and Paramount Plus head of original programming Julie McNamara discussed where Section 31 show stands, and they're basically saying that there are still conversations about the new Star Trek series. So, I mean, like, I don't... If they announce a show in 2019 and then they're still having conversations about the show, that... I don't know. It's weird. It's like... Are they? I mean, that kind of that says to me that they might be a little bit stretched with their current production slate, and that's not really a surprise. I mean, Kurtzman has been getting creatively involved with Picard and Discovery, and I don't think he was that involved with Lower Decks. I do remember he's obviously going to get an executive producer credit in everything because it's being made under the Secret Hideout banner. But yeah, still having conversations about a show that was announced in 2019. Yeah, that kind of suggests to me that it's kind of a bit of a non-mover at the moment. Let's see what else they say in this quote, because I've not actually read this. Kurtzman and McNamara say there are still conversations about a new Star Trek series around Michelle Yeoh's Phillipa Georgiou and the mysterious Section 31, and there are other Trek shows in development that haven't been previously announced. But they have emphasized that the current 5-series slate will likely not expand further until at least one of the shows runs its course. All right, okay, so we've got Discovery, we've got Picard, we've got Lower Decks, we've got Prodigy, and we've got Strange New Worlds. I mean, that's enough, isn't it, really, for the time being? I'm satisfied with that, and we've got, as we like to say, we've got plenty of flavors at the moment. You know, plenty of flavors for different fans. You know, we've got comedy, we've got adult in Picard, we've got Discovery, and we've got Strange New Worlds, which is obviously the one that I think I'm probably the most excited about. So there's not really much of an appetite for Section 31, and I think that's probably the reason why we're not getting it at the moment, simply because that appetite isn't there. And that might have come from focus groups, that might have come from just general feedback. I don't remember people jumping up and down, getting super excited about the prospect of having a Section 31 show or a Phillipa Georgiou show. I know that everybody kind of wants to have a spin-off these days for tiny tertiary characters. I'm going to lay my cards on the table. I'm going to tell you how I feel, because that's what I want to do. As I said at the start, I really liked Georgiou as the traditional as the Prime Universe character of, you know, great gravitas. I mean, Michelle Yeoh, just such a fine actor, brought such a quality to that character, and it was truly quite shocking to see her kind of offed in the way that she was. The Phillipa Georgiou from the Mirror Universe, obviously different character, very, you know, one-dimensional. I'm evil. I'm an emperor. Mirror Universe, you know, and that's fine. My problems with the character arose when they were attempting to have us sympathize for her, because I mean, she's a Mirror Universe character. We're not supposed to sympathize with a Mirror Universe character. I shouldn't give a shit about a Mirror Universe character. But the thing that kind of wound me up is a really dramatic thing to say, that it affected me that much. The thing that always struck me as being odd and at times quite funny and maybe jarring was when Georgiou would just be such a dick to the Discovery crew, and that they'd just be kind of like, "Oh, you, Georgiou. Oh, you. We know you love us, really." And she's like, "I really don't. I'd love to kill you all." And we kind of believe, you know, we as the audience, we're like, she's from the Mirror Universe. She literally has like no redeeming qualities about her at all. So when she says, "I hate you and I want to kill you and strangle you," and when she's chucking dinners all over Tilly, we know that she's doing that for a very specific reason. So yeah, I also, another thing that I didn't particularly like about Discovery's second season was the use of Section 31. Now, I know that there are people out there that do like Section 31. I like Section 31, just not in every episode or every season. I feel like it's a bit of a played concept. That I feel like they kind of played out by the end of Deep Space Nine, to be completely honest with you. I think they used it too much. It was never supposed to be this kind of big, giant thing, and the writers that created the concept of Section 31 have said so themselves. So when you are teasing this Section 31 show with a character that I think most rational people would probably struggle to really get behind, I think that kind of all of that combines to really come together, coalesce into a show that I don't think a lot of people are going to really get behind. I mean, what could you do with a Section 31 show? I mean, you could have a spy kind of caper. You could maybe have had like a buddy cop style show with Georgiou and Ash Tyler, maybe. But I really think that if it was really a popular concept backstage, behind the scenes, I think it probably would have been made already. So Yeah, I'm not surprised that it hasn't been made. And I'm not particularly disappointed that we're not getting it yet. Now, they say they're still having conversations about it. I really don't think we're going to get a Section 31 show. I think that Michelle Yeoh is still very much an active movie star. Is also probably filling their plate with a lot of TV acting gigs as well. Go get all that work. Go and get all that money. You deserve it. And I just don't think that Michelle Yeoh is going to commit to another Star Trek show full time anyway. So this leads me round. This leads to the speculation of how could Phillipa Georgiou come back to Star Trek. And guys, if you're in the comments, I'd love to know your thoughts and your theories on how Michelle Yeoh can come back, because I'm going to share my zinger with you in a second. Now, what I want to do really quickly is I want to just go back to this article, because I want to have a look at the famous, the lauded Trek Core comments section, because I love some of these comments. Right, here we go. Time to put Section 31 to bed. It was a fun addition, handy Deus Ex Machina in the final seasons of Deep Space Nine back in the day, but due to decades of mishandling by lesser writers, the concept has lost all of its value. I disagree that it's been mishandled. Well, or do I? It's not been decades as well. We've had Section 31 show up in. We've had Section 31 show up in Star Trek Into Darkness, and we've had them show up in season 2 of Discovery, and we had them kind of show up in like a post-credits scene at the end of Discovery that I don't even season 1 that I don't even think was actually part of the broadcast. And yeah, so I don't think they use Section 31 extensively in season 2 of Discovery, which is probably where they're coming from. I think there's still value in using an organization like Section 31, but just do it sparingly. So maybe that's where this person is coming from. Let's have a look at some other. I don't want to get into the minutiae of threads too much. I really enjoyed the flashback scene in Vulcan Hello where Burnham first joins the Shenzhou. Yes. Hopefully I got that right. With Georgiou giving her a tour and Saru shooting Burnham a look. I personally would prefer to see this version of Georgiou and the early adventures of Saru and Burnham. Yeah, that's a really good call. It would have been lovely to have seen more flashbacks of Prime, the original Georgiou. I don't think we're going to get a prequel show. I think to give us a prequel show to something like Discovery would be insane. I'm sure people would love it. I wouldn't. We got here a little disappointing, as I can see the Section 31 series going to some darker places like Deep Space Nine did. But I understand Kurtzman's quality over quantity explanation. Okay. I still don't see Picard moving beyond 3 seasons. That's interesting. That's a conversation for another time. That's something that I might also agree with. Spoilers. Oh wow. Okay. There's not much to glean from the Trek Core comments. So, but yeah, I mean, the crux of the story is that it doesn't seem like Section 31 is moving ahead, and Phillipa Georgiou, Michelle Yeoh, very, very popular character. So how can we factor her in to Star Trek? We've got a super chat from my good friend Joseph. Hello. Not sure I want a Section 31 show. I like the mystery. Yeah. So I'm in agreement with you. I like shows where I like aspects of the Star Trek universe that we don't have explored and explained fully. They're a shady, secretive organization. Right, I can understand why the current regime of Star Trek creators would want to have Section 31 factor into their shows, because they do build their shows around mystery and intrigue quite a lot. So Section 31 as a device in one of the seasons made sense. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but hey ho. I like it when restraint is shown to certain characters and to races and organizations. one of the things I thought Voyager made a big mistake with is showing the Borg too much. Because when you show something over and over and over again, and you can literally kind of throw a cap on when in the season something's going to happen or someone's going to appear, like the Borg, then they kind of lose some of their allure and some of their mystique. I hope that kind of makes sense anyway. Yeah, so, right, let's have a look. Let's see what some of you guys are putting in the comments. Wow. Development hell. Yeah, maybe. I mean, conversations would suggest that there's not a lot of development happening. So yeah, that's possible. Wow, there's a lot of comments. Let's see. What about a clone of the original? A clone of the original Georgiou? No, pass. Hello, fun will now commence. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. This is a messier chat than usual. I'd rather them conk of Mirror Phillipa and Section 31 despite the series while being... I don't know what that means, Simon. Sorry. I really don't need another timeline. Yeah, this is interesting. And what I want to do quickly is I want to... someone mentioned it on my Twitter. Someone mentioned she can't go back without creating a new timeline. So perhaps we will revisit in Discovery Season 4. Wait, is that you? That's a word salad. Is that you, Sisk? It is, isn't it? Hello. New timeline. I don't see. I mean, the whole timeline thing. I don't. Would that be a thing? Would her going back through the portal? Because I mean, she's going through via the Guardian of Forever. I mean, the Guardian of Forever is a device for them to do kind of whatever they want. And I think people kind of get hung up sometimes on how exactly time travel works. Time travel works however Star Trek wants it to work at the time. We've seen the crew go back and forward in time by slingshotting around a sun, and they changed. They left a print on 1986's San Francisco, didn't they? I mean, something surely should have been different, but they weren't. We've seen Picard and crew go through a temporal vortex, and then somehow, amazing, and I've still never quite worked this out, somehow recreating the temporal vortex using the gravitational pull of the moon. Writers do whatever they want to do. So if Georgiou goes back in time, she doesn't necessarily have to create another timeline. That's kind of like Avengers-y kind of stuff, isn't it? Avengers-y science logic. She could just go back to... I mean, she could land in a Kelvin timeline, or I mean, she'll realistically probably end up in a prime timeline, wouldn't she? And we're going to get to it. Simon, to be honest, I can't see Section 31 happening. It's quite loose. Yeah, I mean, from that report, it just seems like it's not progressing, is it? Plus, Michelle Yeoh is in demand for other series and films. Yeah, she is. I mean, she's one of the best working actors today. So yeah, I just don't think that. I just don't think it's going to happen. We need Star Trek Enterprise B with Savick as captain instead of that random guy no one cares about. John Harriman. Well, or wasn't he in Ferris Bueller's Day Off? It's Captain Ferris Bueller. He wasn't actually Ferris Bueller, though, was he? He was his mate. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen, though, is it? Because it's just not going to happen. Right. What else have we got here? I'm not surprised to hear that. I mean, yep. She's so good. She's really good at acting. I'm actually interested in a Section 41 show. Is Section 41 a thing? Are you going to make me plunge down a rabbit hole of the internet? I didn't even know that's a... You're pulling my leg, Simon. I'm gullible. I'm very gullible. Oh, you said... Typos. I'm personally not interested in a Section 31 show or a Section 41 show, whatever you want to call it. However, I know people that would be, and if it allows Star Trek to tell a different type of story with different characters, I would like to see Ash Tyler reintegrated in the Star Trek universe. I thought he was an intriguing character, and I felt that Discovery didn't fully explore the battle within, the war within between the Klingon Vok and Ash Tyler. They didn't really, finish and wrap that story in a way that I found appealing. So I see some comments about the redeemability of a Mirror Universe character, and bringing up Mirror Universe Spock as being a character that could potentially be a character for good, which is a valid point. However, I just think with the way Discovery handled Mirror Universe Georgiou, and she was like gleefully evil until like the last episode that she's in. She goes, let's count Terra Firma as one episode. So she goes, she's kind of put in that situation by the Guardian, or Carl, whatever you want to call him, whatever. And what she sees in the Mirror Universe, because she's been away from it for so long, kind of shocks her and changes her viewpoint. That's fine, I guess. It all just happens very suddenly. And we get the final scene with Burnham and Georgiou, and it's all kind of huggy, and it seems like a radical change for a character in a very short space of time. I didn't buy it. I personally didn't buy it. I think it's so hard to redeem a literal space Nazi that I was really surprised that the show tried. We got Philip in the chat. Hello, Philip. Late to the stream, so don't know what you've covered. I haven't really covered much. I've just rambled. If they don't bring her back in their own show, then they could have her pop up in Strange New Worlds, having been sent back to that time. So this is what I wanted to get at. This is it. This is, I think, what they're going to do. It seems to me like Star Trek is setting us up for having Discovery, Picard, and Strange New Worlds as its three main flagship live action shows, with Prodigy and Lower Decks kind of propping up and acting as kind of supplemental content. I don't know how long Picard's going to run for as well. I'd be surprised if we get more than 2 seasons, to be completely honest, but that's my thoughts on that. I think that she's going to show up in Strange New Worlds. I agree with you, Philip, and anybody else in the comments who is going plumping for that. I think that's the likely play. Let's think about it logically. Michelle Yeoh is busy. She's got stuff to do. The Section 31 show looks like it's not going to be moving ahead, at least at earliest, until they've wrapped up at least one of the shows. And let's say, he's realistically and feasibly, it's the 3 shows. One of those shows has to end. So let's say Picard runs only for 2 seasons, and we get Picard season 2 in 2022. Let's say it wraps in. Let's say the show premieres and ends in 2022. That's 3 years after they announced a show, almost 4 years after they announced a Section 31 show. I think it's too late. I don't think anyone would care by that point. Michelle Yeoh's busy. Section 31, I think, is going to be a hit. I think, given the people that are working on it in front of camera, behind the camera, the reception of Pike and Spock and Number One, and even some of the secondary supporting characters that we saw in some of the short treks, I think that's going to be a slam dunk home run. I know it's a bit early to be saying that. We haven't even had a trailer or anything apart from Dancing Spock in the Paramount Plus promo, but I think it's going to be a hit. And I think that Section 31, I think Strange New Worlds offers the potential possibility to bring back Ash Tyler, so we get to bring him back and we get to have some closure. and we get to bring Georgiou back. We get to bring Michelle Yeoh back for, you know, a couple of episodes, or maybe even an extended run. I mean, let's be realistic. I think Strange New Worlds is probably going to be another condensed production, maybe 13 episodes per season. An idea that I had was that there are a number of different things that you can do. You can, I would like to see Section 31. I keep saying it. I'd like to see Strange New Worlds move away from Section 31. I've got it on the brain. I'd like to see him move away from it. You don't need to have it in there. I think what you could do is you could introduce Georgiou as a character that has crash landed back in the past, back in a home location, home land where she's not going to die. She's basically not going to kind of, I don't know what were Discovery trying to do with her face kind of moving away, like demolecularizing and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what they were trying to do, but she's basically back in like a native time and land and location. And maybe what's happened is she's kind of reverted back to kind of how she was. She's fallen into old habits. She's maybe a space pirate or something like that. And what you could have is, I mean, I'd like to see Strange New Worlds do something episodic with its content. But I think realistically, we're probably still going to have a through line, aren't we? We're still going to have an overarching kind of story that drives everything forward. So what I would do is I would have the Enterprise investigating planet by planet, system by system, the stories of an unknown pirate who's kind of taking from whatever, and we learn over the course of the show that it is Phillipa Georgiou. Obviously, Georgiou and Pike, they have some history, albeit brief history, but they do have a history. And I think it's implied in season 2 that Pike knows that Georgiou is actually the Emperor or Empress or whatever it is. So you could have that. That would be an interesting dynamic. But what I would do is I would spin it. So we all think that Georgiou's gone back to being evil, ruthless, Mirror Universe Georgiou. My theory is that, and this is just pure speculation at this point, isn't it? Is that she is like a Robin Hood of space. So she's still edgy. She's still stealing and doing questionable things, but she's doing it to help star systems, planets that are in need. The Robin Hood of space. I think that's what you could do with Georgiou. Or what you could do is you could have Georgiou maybe be the foundation and formation of the Fenris Rangers, whenever 7 is connected to in Picard, so that you could explore her creating her own organization. Something that Star Trek has, something that the new productions of Star Trek have created for themselves, instead of just digging up Section 31s or 41s, as we now call them. So they're my two kind of predictions as to what we could potentially do with Georgiou. That keeps it nice, and, you know, I think that they could continue down the rabbit hole of making her a more relatable, sympathetic character. I'm still going to struggle, but, you know, hey, I mean, not that I've seen it, but I've heard that they've turned Negan into a sympathetic character that you kind of want to root for. And I saw him bash Glenn's brains out. So anything is possible. I mean, they turned Sylar into a goodie, didn't they? So it is possible. It's not unheard of. But I do feel like doing something like a sympathetic, you know, being edgy for the benefit of people who don't have the basics, I think that's a very Star Trek thing to do, and it's a very modern Star Trek thing to do. So that is my pick on what I think, my prediction on what we could have happen. Let's see what you guys think of that. Let's go through some of these other comments. If they decided anyway to go on with the Section 31 show, I would like to see Bashir and Georgiou going head to head. That would be something, wouldn't it? I don't think they'll do it. I mean, yeah, it's just not going to happen, is it? I think, well, saying that, I mean, they could always have Georgiou turn up in Picard, maybe, but that would just be weird. I think she's gonna be in Strange New Worlds for sure. I don't mind a Section 31 show. It's just I don't like Kurtzman's vision and storytelling style. Yeah, well, yeah, but that is the kind of vision and storytelling style now. And I don't know. I don't know how much of it Kurtzman's actually responsible for, though. I mean, Discovery Season 3, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Michelle Paradise the sole showrunner of that show? Or were they? No, I think they were co-showrunners. No, I stand very much corrected. I've corrected myself. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't like Kurtzman, and I think that's. I mean, we have to remember and this was something that I was speaking to my good friend Marcelo about a few days ago. Was that if it wasn't for Kurtzman's script with Roberto Orsi in 2009, we wouldn't have any of this. We wouldn't, Star Trek wouldn't have reemerged as a bankable property, and we wouldn't have had Discovery. We wouldn't have had the Star Trek that we. I know there are some people that are going, it would have been great if we didn't have Discovery. I don't really agree with that. I think it's great that we're getting some sort of Star Trek. So Kurtzman's vision, in a way, is. I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't like the constant reliance on mystery box and intrigue and secret plots and apocalypse to the whole universe. That shit's boring. It's just played out. But he has brought some good things. That has to be acknowledged. Do not forget to hit the like. Joseph doing a better job of running my channel than I am. Thank you, Joseph. If you haven't hit the like, please hit it. It would be lovely. And also, if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe. I'm streaming every day at 9 p.m. GMT UK local currently. Simon, okay, concentrate. Cool. So I don't speak text speak. I'm sorry. I honestly, when I'm texting people, I'm always like texting in with full grammar, which is probably usually wrong. That's just the way I do things. But thank you very much. Learned something new today. I'd rather see a series based on the Temporal Time Agency. Yeah, that would be cool. And one of the ideas that I had for a really cool kick-ass Star Trek TV show was, do you remember when Star Trek Discovery was supposed to be an anthology show? And I think a lot of people were like, this is interesting. Let's see what happens with this. And I think that was kind of at the height of American Horror Story, if I remember correctly, where that's a well-known anthology show. And since we've had American Crime Story, I think we've only had a couple of seasons of that though. But I got really excited about the idea of having an anthology show. Unfortunately, it never happened. But I still think that's something that could be done. You could have a show where the anthology element is a different era, a different timeline, and the time agents could be, incognito. They could be blending in. They could be like time anthropologists learning about the stuff that we don't know about as viewers. So in that, what do you have? You have 100 years between Kirk and Picard, time that we've really not seen a lot of, and I would love to see more of that. And now we have the giant chasm between, now it's Lower Decks, Picard. We have that gap between Picard and Discovery Season 3. So there's a lot to be said about a potential anthology show with a temporal time agency. I really like that call. Right, what have we got here? Hi, dude. Love your vids. Thank you. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. I think we want to see a temporal time show. Make it happen. If anybody's reading this. Reading the Discovery novel. The Star Trek books. By the way, I think tomorrow is World Book Day, so read a book, otherwise you'll get crap on Twitter. Reading the Discovery novel with Lorca and Georgiou as earlier ranked Starfleet officers and loving it. Yeah, I'm just not going to read it. I'm going to read it because usually with books these days they try and tie it into the show and kind of insist that you read them to know more about the show. So fuck that, I haven't got time to read books. So there we go. I mean, that's my theory with regards to Phillipa Georgiou and how I think they can bring her back. Bring her back as like a Robin Hood mystery villain, but not quite villain, as the central antagonist, not antagonist of the first season of Strange New Worlds. It would tie it in nicely. They've got a story there that's kind of tailor-made ready. We don't need Section 31, at least we don't need it right now anyway. There's enough Star Trek to kind of keep us satisfied. I like this. Isn't the temporal war defined in STO? I don't know, because I've not played enough Star Trek Online. And also, I don't think Star Trek Online, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please, I don't think it's canon. I hope it's not canon anyway, because I've played an hour of Star Trek Online and I thought the story was stupid. So, but quick plug is as I will be playing for the second time ever, Star Trek Online this coming Sunday at 9 o'clock. And I might play it for a little bit longer this time. So do come and join in. Okay, confirmation there. The issue with STO is that it's based outside canon. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, it's not, I'm glad. I mean, I remember playing for an hour and like there was like a full-scale Borg invasion and then there wasn't. And I was like, oh. But it was nice to see Nog. Oh, what's this? We need Emily or Orid Dax in Strange New World. No, we don't. No, we don't at all. We can have new original characters. We don't need to tie everything back to established stuff that we already know of. Let's explore Strange New Worlds. Let's do that. Right. I think I'm probably going to call it there. Unless somebody else has some awesome insight or ideas for what we could... What else? I mean... Do you think that my Georgiou idea is garbage? If you do, what else could we do differently? How else would you like to see Georgiou come back as an out-and-out villain? Do you think that she could reintegrate with Starfleet? Do you think that she just doesn't come back at all? Because you could write it. I mean, it's a decent exit for the character. Kind of going full circle, giving Burnham the drive to become the captain of the Discovery in season 3. It could be a decent wrap. It could be a decent end for the character. Or, as we have here, an open ending. Yeah. So we could explore Georgiou 10 years down the line if we're still making Star Trek by then. I quite like that. But I do think that they're going to bring it back for Strange New Worlds. And if they do that, I welcome that. And I do feel like it would give Strange New Worlds, his first season, that extra bit of star power. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for me for this episode anyway, in this week's discussion. I hope you've had fun. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, if you haven't already, like this live stream and subscribe to the channel. I live stream every single night at 9 p.m. And tomorrow, we're playing bingo. I have created a bingo board. Well, I've created 3 bingo boards. I've created one for the Next Generation, one for Voyager, and one for Enterprise. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin a wheel to randomly pick one of those shows. We're going to spin a wheel again to pick a random season and then a random episode. And it might be fun. I don't know. The idea is that we're playing trope bingo. So, as we know, the classics of Star Trek are filled with loads and loads of tropes. So that's what we're going to do. You can come and join with me. You can come and watch it with me. We'll be streaming the episode on Cast. I'll probably be joined by my good friend Chris. We'll play together. You can play it with us. It's going to be a laugh. It's going to be a mess. I'm the king of mess. This stream has been one giant mess of me just talking nonsense, but that's the way I like to do it, baby. Guys, thank you so much for joining. You guys are really cool. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on. I've got a question here. SC. Hey, Trek Lad. Is Lower Decks on Comedy Central on the other side of the pond too? No, it's not. It's on Amazon Prime here. So premium. And I have no idea how well it's gone down. All I know was that I got super excited when it dropped on Amazon Prime and I went and watched them all. And that's another thing. Potentially coming soon will be a full 5-hour binge of Lower Decks, and I'll probably stream the whole thing as well. Joseph, again, thank you very much for the super chat. Kapla, great stream. Thank you so much. There we go. That will do it. I will see you tomorrow. I hope you can join me. Star Trek Bingo. We have no idea what the episode's going to be, but we're going to make it fun time. Until then, stay happy, stay safe. Send me your Georgiou theories. And until next time, my friends, live long and prosper.